In media today, one of the most iconic plot devices is transformations. Getting access to a power that supersedes all threats in front of you is awesome. And for me, there's one transformation that stands above all others. It's the peak of Dragon Quest. But before we talk about my favorite transformation, let's talk about Dragon Quest VIII, because something that treads the line between a power-up / transformation appears in that game. This right here is super high tension from DQ8, and personally, I'd love to see something of this nature appear in Dragon Quest XII. It's cool to have a visual representation of increasing strength besides just numerical stats going up. If you didn't know, Dragon Quest was actually the pioneer of transformations in a certain sense. Have you ever wondered why a lot of times in Jrpgs, the final boss undergoes a change that makes them look unrecognizable? Well, guess what happened 30 years ago in the original Dragon Quest, which is accredited for influencing the JRPG genre as a whole. The final boss goes from looking like this to this. And it's crazy because if you look at any other JRPG, final bosses typically go looking like this to this. So if final bosses can undergo these transformations, have these displays of strength, why can't the protagonist, why can't our party members do the same? It's something you don't see too often. It's why I appreciate high tension from Dragon Quest VIII. But it's nice because it seems like this is a concept that is being used more. I'm playing Trails Through Daybreak right now, and of course we have Van being able to take the Grendel mid-fight. We also had Xenoblade 3 in 2022, where the main characters could access a pretty badass form called the Ouroboros, which in my opinion, that game handled protagonist transformations the best out of any video game. Once you unlock it, you can use it in virtually any fight, and most of all, it changes the gameplay in a plethora of unique ways, unique fun ways. It's more than just, hey, this is a damage multiplier, you now do way more damage. Now let's transition from video games to anime, specifically the Dragon Quest Dai anime, because it has my favorite transformation. Now, what makes a good transformation in anime? Well, impact. When do transformations have greater impact? Well, unlike an interactive video game where having access to a transformation repeatedly is more fun, at least in my opinion, in anime, they have a greater impact when they appear less, or maybe even a single time throughout the show. Mugetsu Ichigo, peak fiction. Adult Gon, too clean. I'd say this is why the transformation of the protagonist from Dragon Quest Dino Daiboken is superb. Up to this point, our protagonist has defeated every foe in his way without any transformations. He's relied on different techniques and strategies to defeat his foes, and in the final 10 episodes, he reveals a transformation, the Dragonoid form. This new power is great because it didn't just show up. It isn't an ass pull. We had seen Dai's father take the Dragonoid form earlier in the show, and so you think to yourself, maybe Dai could access this form as well, but since fundamentally, as Dragon Knights, Dai and his father Baron are different, you have this sort of doubt in your mind, this uncertainty. But to have that quelled in the final act of Dragon Quest Dai is just chef's kiss. It's amazing. It's been my profile picture since I had 10 subscribers, and the Dragonoid form's impact isn't diminished by overusage or the attainment of a superior power later on in the show. This is it. This is the most powerful version of Dai. Dragon Quest Dai really embodies the phrase, saving your best cards for last, and I just love it. I just love it. And I love how it's implied that this is a transformation Dai could have realistically used a little bit earlier in the final fight, but he didn't because he was trying to win on his own terms. Another thing that makes a good transformation is the design, and for me, simple is best. I've always been on I prefer the Super Saiyan God route as opposed to Super Saiyan 4. For the most part, I prefer transformations that only change 1 to 2 aspects of the character rather than a larger overhaul. In the very beginning, the Dragon Crest has let Dai rise to the occasion against many foes, and so just by going the simplistic route and just making the forehead crest bigger, you have something that looks recognizable and easily conveys strength. Bigger is better, right? And I've always felt like this transformation design has always best suited Dai because we kind of already got a look at a more radical Dragonoid form when his father Baron took the form. And that aesthetic suits him, his character, what he was trying to do in the show. It's an example of a more radical design being best suited for the character, and I loved it. What are your thoughts? What's your favorite transformation in video game or anime? Let's get a discussion going in the comments. I read every single one and I'll reply to as much as I can. And I'll see you in the next Dragon Quest video. I love you guys. Like and subscribe, and later.